All right, everybody. Good afternoon. What is going on? You know what time it is. You know what it's all about. We got Snap Count Monday up next. So, just trying to get a feel for how the rotations are on this team right now, who's getting on the field, how much they're getting on the field, and also how balanced this team is in terms of offense versus defense. I'll tell you, there's actually a lot of good stuff here, a lot more good stuff than bad stuff, that's for sure. And I know that the Seahawks are obviously having a really good season right now, so you would expect more good than bad, but there's been some stuff in the Snap Count Mondays this year that has been suboptimal. So I do think we got some good stuff going here with this particular iteration. By the way, sorry if you can hear the banging upstairs. There's some work being done right now, but Snap Count Monday, starting with the offense. First of all, 67 plays. I know that's the funny number right now, but it's also a pretty good number for a typical offensive day. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so yeah, it's not a season high or anything like that, but it's up there. And if you look at the season so far, like sometimes having too many offensive plays isn't necessarily the greatest thing. In this case, though, it was mostly because of the dominance of the defense rather than the offense sustaining really long drives, although there was a little bit of that. So we're still not totally where we want to be yet, but we're up to 740 offensive plays now, which, I mean, we're still a ways away from parity, but we're getting there after yesterday. But Ken Walker, 37 snaps, so he does get the majority of the snaps at running back, but Charbonnet still gets a lot with 26. Also had Robbie Oots with 12. He's really kind of, he's a little bit more of an afterthought in the offense now than I thought he would be. But we'll see where that goes as the season goes on. And Myles Gaskin got in garbage time for 3 snaps. So first 3 snaps as a Seahawk. What's up? Cool to see. Obviously, Gaskin's going to be a little bit of a fan favorite for some. And for others, maybe he's your mortal enemy. But whatever. Anyway, still pretty cool for me. But yeah, Ken Walker takes the lead as should be expected going forward with his superior play and his greater playmaking upside. But yeah, the Robbie Oots thing's interesting. He's really kind of just there. It feels like it feels like we've just kind of decided that we're going to make him a tertiary part of the offense right now. And I mean, the running game's been fine lately, so I guess I'm okay with that. But it is interesting. Wide receivers, JSN, 55 snaps, so most of the game, but still not the whole game. Obviously, not his best game. In fact, his worst game of the year by a wide margin. But not worried about him. There's not much to say except Minnesota did some really interesting things to limit him. Cooper Kupp, 51, basically the same as he's been the whole year. By the way, we've already gotten over 500 snaps out of Cooper Kupp this year. I think that's probably I think we're probably living in the better timeline right now with him. I know he's not super productive, but I do think we're getting miles out of Cooper Kupp in terms of at least his snap count that you might not have anticipated before the season started. And Shaheed played about half the game, so still not fully integrated yet. And I know that there are concerns about his production, and that's probably something I'm gonna talk about later this week. But he is changing the way opposing defenses play against Seattle, and I think that's why the run game has been a little bit more dependable lately. And then Cody White gets 14 snaps. Kind kind of interesting. It seems like he's kind of supplanted Jake Bobo as wide receiver 4, so I think the Bobo party's just kind of over. We gave him a decent chance earlier this year. He didn't do anything, and now it feels like he's just wide receiver 5 at best. So yeah, Cody White is kind of taking that role, and Cody White's actually doing some stuff, so I'm not against it at all. Cody White's probably a better player. Okay, that's wide receiver stuff. Tight end, pretty straightforward. AJ Barner plays basically the whole game. Elijah Arroyo plays well under half. Nick Collerup plays about a third, and Brady Russell got 1 snap, I think, on the goal line, but maybe it was garbage time. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just, if we had known how good AJ Barner was going to be, I'm sure the Arroyo pick doesn't happen, but even with Barner basically getting shelved for a lot of the game we played against, I think this was Washington, he is very close to 80% of the snaps for the Seahawks offense this year. Way better than we would have thought. And I mean, it's not like we're giving him 80% of the snaps and he can't keep up. He's keeping up fine. He's going to be one of the more productive tight ends in the league this year. And he won't be number 1, of course, but he's up there. So that's cool. But yeah, I've beaten the drum on the Arroyo thing for a while now, but it is getting kind of frustrating. We're in game, we're heading into game 13 now, and he's still, from week to week, is maybe going to make 1 catch and maybe going to make no catches, and feels like those are the only 2 options right now. He doesn't even get a chance to do more than that. And there are extenuating circumstances. Like, we didn't know JSN was going to be this good, but still. Offensive line, a little bit funky this week because we did have 1 injury and we also had a little bit of garbage time. Cross played all but 3 plays, came out for Josh Jones on the last drive of the game. So everything's fine there. Zabel played the whole game. Lucas played the whole game. And Oluwatimi played the whole game except for 3 snaps, which I think went to Cable Dew. And then you had Anthony Bradford, who missed the end of the game with an injury. By the way, he's one guy I forgot to talk about earlier in the injury video I did, I think earlier this morning, or maybe it was in the afternoon. Apparently he's fine too. Apparently the injury is not considered notable or significant in any real way. I will say that when Christian Haynes went in there, I didn't notice him look a lot worse. I don't think I noticed him look a lot better overall, though, so you see why Bradford's still out there. I know a lot of people are getting really frustrated with that, but Haynes is, in a different way, probably just as limited as a player. And I know that's frustrating, but it does seem like it's the reality right now. So, yeah, Christian Haynes, 14 snaps. Obviously, it's not enough to make any conclusions, but it seems like this team has kind of already made some conclusions on him. All right, so that's the offense. Defense now, 52 snaps. And it was kind of like the Rams game, where the reason why we only had 52 snaps, which is almost what we had in the Rams game, it's because we were forcing so many turnovers and playing so well that they just couldn't keep anything going. They couldn't keep the ball. And even with our offense really not doing that much on the other side of it, it was still really clean. And that's how you get a game like this, where Leonard Williams, and how cool is this? Leonard Williams gets 29 snaps in this game. Doesn't even play 30 snaps. That is a luxury that you cannot afford unless you're playing in a game like this. And I think that kind of stuff is valuable for a player who is a veteran like him. Byron Murphy, I think this might be, it's not the first time, but it's one of the first times that Murphy's played more snaps than Williams. It makes sense in a game like this. Murphy's younger. He doesn't need the snaps off nearly as much. He's still played fewer snaps on the year than Big Cat, so it's not like that's a problem. But kind of cool that you have a game like this, right, where you don't need to overtax your best players. And this comes in a game where you didn't even have Jarran Reed. Jarran Reed is still out. So Jarran Reed being out and you're still able to do this, it's pretty cool. And it's something that probably could have only happened because you faced Max Brosmer. But Max, yeah, you still have to go out there and actually jump on them and get ahead and put your team in that situation where they don't have to worry about anything in the second half. Mike Morris, 12 snaps, so he's part of the reason why this is able to work. Brandon Peely, 17. He's actually kind of finding his way into a little role here. We'll see if it maintains when Jaron Reed comes back, and Bohanna with 9. So these are the little things that I talk about sometimes that you need to happen in the course of a season if you really want to put everything together. You need guys like Brandon Peely and Quinton Bohanna to play workable snaps. Maybe not even good snaps, just workable snaps. Linebacker, we have Ernest Jones plays the whole game until the end. He got dinged up. It sounds like he's fine, but he did miss 5 plays. Tyrese Knight took those 5 plays. Drake Thomas, only 31 snaps as well, so we actually went without him on the field for a big portion of this game. We saw some Pat O'Connell in garbage time as well, by the way, but I was a little bit surprised how much we went to one linebacker in this game for sure. And I think having a player like Nick Emanwari is allowing that to happen, which is nice, but not what I expected, I would say. So pretty cool. Again, these are the things that happen when you have a game where your defense just gets right off the field over and over and over again. Edge rusher, we got more balance here, people. No edge rusher plays more than 30 snaps. DeMarcus Lawrence only plays 20, and think about how good he was on those 20 snaps, by the way. But Hall, 28, Mafe, 28, Nwosu, 29. I mean, this is kind of the dream, right? If you don't have a Micah Parsons or TJ Watt level player, this is the dream. Everything's just kind of balanced, and we're going to get to the end of the year here. There is a chance that none of our top 4 edge players are going to be over 55% of the total snap share. So that to me is the dream, and it took a long time for us to get here, but we might actually get there this year. Cornerback. Witherspoon plays the whole game except 2 snaps. Woolen plays most of the game. Job plays pretty good chunk as well. That rotation that we're doing at the other cornerback spot's interesting. I do wonder if at a certain point we're going to just go with one guy, but I will say, even though I normally don't like rotating cornerbacks, they have found something kind of interesting here where they recognize both players' limitations and they're willing to kind of ride with one guy in certain spots and the other guy in other spots that they think are favorable to their skill set. It actually works better than I would have thought. So we'll see where things go later in the year, but the rotation has been kind of interesting. And sometimes they're both on the field at the same time, but a lot of the time it is a rotation. Pritchett, 2 snaps, garbage time. Kobe Bryant was the only defender to play the whole game with 52 snaps. He's played basically the whole season, by the way, so he's putting in work. I know he's not an elite safety, but he's playing really well, and he is... I'm really happy he found his role in this league because he has a unique skill set with his ability to force fumbles, and I wasn't sure if he'd ever be put in a position to fully utilize it. And I know he's not forcing fumbles the way he was as a rookie, but I still really like the fact that he's constantly out there and playing effectively in other areas. Emanwari, the whole game except for 2 snaps. Okada, the whole game except for 2 snaps. So basically at this point, Emanwari's a full-time player. This might be Okada's last game as a starter. Maybe we kind of work Love in next week, but I expect Okada to be back in a backup role shortly. D'Anthony Bell picks up 2 snaps in garbage time, and that's it. So really good stuff, guys, especially defensively. I love it. I love it. You have a game where none of your edge rushers or Big Cat play more than 30 snaps for good reasons. Not because the other team kept scoring the ball in 4 plays every time they got the ball, but because you were just that good. In fact, I think according to DVOA, the Vikings had the worst offensive game they've ever tracked. Maybe I'll talk about that later this week, but pretty special. Pretty special. All right. I'll see you guys later. Pro Football Focus, maybe some other stuff as well. Go Hawks. See you soon. And, yeah, trending in the right direction.